I am the host, Sacorian Gardner. Welcome to the PACKCAST today. Today we have a special Black History Month program for the PACKCAST. Right here with me, I have Mr. DC Nobles and Mr. Garrett, two former Lufkin Dunbar High School football players. And Mr. Nobles here has recently been inducted to the Dunbar Hall of Fame. Mr. Nobles, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, Mr. Garrett.
I'm blessed.
Yes, sir. So starting off with our podcast today, I just want to ask a few questions between the both of you. Coming up during the time of Dunbar and playing high school football there, how was it?
How was football? How was life? Both of them were tough.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, playing football for Dunbar was something that the kids in my neighborhood grew up looking forward to doing. That was all you wanted to do when you were a kid, was to go to Dunbar, play football, or run track.
Mr. Garrett?
Yep. Well, for me, it was a little bit different. When I was in elementary school, actually, I took music lessons.
Really?
But when I got into 7th grade, Coach Red and Coach Ross came and they just completely told me that I was going to play football for them.
Really?
Well, actually, Coach Red made me get on the back of his truck and took me to a football practice. And I said, I got to tell my folks where I'm going. He said, just get on the truck.
Okay. So I understand that, Mr. Garrett, you were the center here for Mr. Nobles.
Yes.
So with being a center, I know myself, I used to be a center back when I played. I know between you and the quarterback, there has to be a little special relationship there because you start off with the ball snapping and the ball has to get to him whether you're in shotgun or whether he's under you.
Yeah, we definitely had a relationship. And DC and we had a real close relationship because he knew I wasn't going to let nobody get to him.
Yes, sir.
During any kind of game. So we definitely was close.
Okay.
Yeah, there were plays when, I'd look at the defense and see too big of a gap to one side or the other of the center, and I'd just tap him on one side or the other. And he knew that whatever play was called in the huddle was not going to be. It was going to be him and me.
Yes, sir. That's great. That's great.
And we'd always get 5-10 yards on that play.
That's
Our thing was 3 yards and a cloud of dust.
Really?
That's all we wanted, was 3 yards on a play. Enough first downs, you're going to get to that end zone.
Yes, sir. I completely understand. Mr. Nobles, coming to you, sir. I have great understanding that you were the first black quarterback in the South on the collegiate level.
Yes, on the major college.
On the major college level.
Yes.
How was that? How was that?
Well, it was difficult at first, and because I never had played with any other players other than black players, and the white players, I had to get them to understand that I could play that position because it seems that they were conditioned to believe that a black guy couldn't play that spot, and I was always put to major challenges in practice to prove that I could do those things. It's things as simple as lining up all the quarterbacks on one of the yard lines, giving us each a football and saying, throw it far as you can. And when I bounced my football off the baseball bleachers, they said, you stand over here. I mean, I only weighed about 150 pounds then, too. And I was pretty much the smallest one. And there were 15 of us. They gave us numbers from 1 to 15, and guess what number I was? 15. But as time went on, and a lot of things happened, some of it racial, whereas those guys migrated to my defense in practice, and where white guys just came to my aid to fight other white guys in my benefit.
Right.
And it showed the coaches that these guys will follow you.
Yes, sir.
They told me that since these guys will follow you, you know, get them to do this and that, because we had a big freshman team, 75 freshmen, and we outnumbered all of varsity. And once they told us that we had to get our heads shaved and all this stuff, we didn't want to do it.
Right.
So they called me and asked me if I would get it done to myself, and the rest of the players would follow along, and surely that happened. Once they found out that they would follow me, they started to give me a little bit more incentive to want to be there and not want to just take off somewhere else. And then when I played, we didn't have where a freshman could play varsity football. The University and Scholastic League didn't allow freshmen to play varsity football until my junior year. Now, freshman year, I should have been a starter, I think, but I wasn't. I didn't even start for the freshman team. They had two other quarterbacks ahead of me. And when we played our first game, that other quarterback started. We were losing. I came in the third quarter. We won the game. Second game we played, similar situation. The third game we played, we went down to Louisiana to play against LSU. They hadn't been beat at home in 10 years.
Wow.
I hadn't played in that game until about 3 minutes left in the third quarter. And one of the alumni guys came from the stands down to the field and said, "I'm going to get you in the game. If you go in that game and win, I'll buy you the biggest steak in Houston." So one of my teammates said, "Man, don't go out there. You're going to get killed." The people in the stands were yelling racial remarks about ending my career. But anyway, I took two teammates with me. He said, "Pick two guys to go out there with you." And I took a running back I had in high school named Kenneth Williams, and I took a receiver named Howard Ebo. Howard Ebo ended up playing with the Green Bay Packers. And Kenneth Williams, he's passed away now, but he was one of the top running backs in the state.
Yes, sir.
In my senior year. Anyway, we went out there, and after being beaten down 21-0, all the way up to 3 minutes into the third quarter, I brought the team back. And we won the game, 28-21.
Yes, sir.
We could not leave Baton Rouge. They bricked the bus, rocked the bus, fireworked the bus. We had our police escorts out of there, and all the newspapers said, every time they used my name, they put in parentheses, a Negro. I thought that was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. And from that point on, I had the team in my control.
Right.
So
You had that leadership role to be able to show them.
it was on then. It was on and popping.
Yeah.
And I made it happen. We
Whether
went
they liked you or not.
undefeated. Our freshman team went undefeated.
Yeah.
I was the most outstanding freshman. Got the Walter Campbell Award for that, and several other awards I got as a top freshman ball player. And of course, you could redshirt that next year as a sophomore and get an extra year of college.
Right.
I tried to redshirt, but game situations made the coach throw me in one of those games too. My first two varsity plays were both school records. One was a 89-yard touchdown pass, and one was a 59-yard run from scrimmage. And that put so much pressure on the starting quarterback who had took the team to the Blue Bunny Bowl against Auburn a year before, that he created a campaign to try to end my career on campus.
Wow.
At the time, I was married and I lived off campus, but I had a dorm room as well. I had three little boys. You might know them, Eric, Derek, and Dimitri. And being a full-time student, a full-time father, and a full-time athlete, and had to maintain a grade point average, I said, over 3.0. But I maintained a 3.5 grade point average at the same time.
That's awesome.
And was a father and a good football player. And I went on from there to try and accomplish some other things. after I got my degree, I went and got a real estate license and an insurance sales license for the state of Texas, which I never used. Matter of fact, I never used my college degree.
Really?
I turned down a
What was
lot
your
of
degree?
coaching job offers. Turned down a bunch of coaching job offers. The jobs that I recommended other guys to, one of them ended up being a quarterback coach for the Dallas Cowboys. He was one of my receivers, and I recommended them hire him. And then there was another one was my running back, Clarence Shelman. He was the offensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers for 17 years.
Wow.
Both of those jobs could have been mine. Actually, I had a chance. I did my student teaching at the high school that the Super Bowl champion quarterback Jalen Hurts finished from. I did my student teaching there, and his father was a football coach there.
Wow.
So I had some connection with him, even though he's much younger.
So even throughout all the opportunity and all the things that you had, you still chose to be the guy. Well, let me let this guy go off and do something great and be this guy. I'm not going to be selfish myself.
Exactly.
That's great.
And that's what the love I have for my fellow athletes and friends.
Yes, sir. Coming back to you, Mr. Garrett, I do have to understand between you both, y'all both went off and won a state championship title.
Matter of fact, DC and I, we played against 4 straight championship teams. We lost 2 games and won 2. But that's history as it is. Matter of fact, we out of 6 years, we won 3 state championship teams. Lufkin Dunbar did, and we lost 3. So that takes us in history also. And one thing that was different than DC and I had a scholarship to UCLA, and my freshman year, they appointed me the captain of the team, and that was leadership for me when I first got to college. So my experience was a little bit different than DC's, because at that particular time in California, things were a little bit different than they were here in Texas. Mm-hmm. So, that's a part of history also. And I got a chance to, a lot of my teammates were well-known players, just like Bill Walton, Jamal Wilkes. All of those were my classmates. And I went to school with, you probably heard of Henry Bibby, Curtis Rowe, Sidney Wicks. And, that's part of my history also, just to be in the presence of those people that made, the professional level. I even played with Jim Otto. He was a starting center for Oakland Raiders for a long time. So that's part of the black history there.
Coming back to you, between the both of you, I don't know whoever can answer better. What was the lifestyle being a Dunbar football player? What was what was expected of y'all? What did the coaches have for y'all's everyday the standards that y'all had to uphold?
We were role models for the rest of the students. We had to be role models. Our coaches were very strict and disciplined, and they you weren't afraid of them. They didn't have you in fear of them, but there was so much respect that you had for them and their leadership ability that you didn't want to do anything to rock the boat.
Right.
So you kept each other in line, and other students just followed suit, because the athletes were what brought the attention to the school, and everybody just wanted to be a part of that. Dunbar, his legacy was about winning, and that's all we knew.
Yes, sir.
And it seemed to breed to the next generation. you know.
Yes, sir. Mr. Garrett.
The most important thing back when we were in school, Coach Red, we all had a lot of respect for him. And he acted as if he was our parents. A lot of times, if players got in trouble, they wouldn't call the parents. They would call Coach Red. So he was just like a father to all of the athletes. And, you know, that set a good example for what a coach should be, because, you know, once you act as if you're a parent or you show that love for that player, you can expect a lot from that player. And that's something that our coach did. He showed love for us just like a father, and I respected him for that.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Because I lost my father my freshman year, and my mother was already deceased. Coach Red came and stepped right in and took that role, and when he made me get on the back of that truck. And I was raised by my dad's sister, and she was anti-football. She was anti-contact, any kind. And it took Coach Red and several doctors to convince her to let me play, even though I snuck and played.
Yes,
She saw my name in the paper.
Yeah, kind of like little like Bobby Boucher, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the
yes,
water
sir.
boy.
Yeah.
One thing about Coach Red, just like I said, you know, we respected him, and he wanted the leaders to show leadership. If you was a captain or a leader of the team, he wanted you to show that on or off the campus. And I mean, he was strict about our grades. He wanted our grades to stay up. And matter of fact, when I got to college, my freshman year, my first quarter, you know, I reminisce about how Coach brought me up. I was on the dean's list my first quarter when I got to college. So that you know, that goes a long ways when your coaches show that much love for you.
Yes, sir. During the time period of which when y'all were in school, many know, many have heard the things that were going on in that time period, segregation,
Yes.
the racism and things like that, and civil rights movement all going on. Outside of football and just being a kid in Lufkin and going to Dunbar, what got you through?
Wow, that's a good one.
Yes, sir.
Because I tell you, I had some serious physical encounters away from football, racial kind of encounters. I really don't want to talk about that, though.
Yes, sir. That's okay.
And I made it through it. Bottom line is I made it through it.
Yes, sir.
But it was there. It was there.
Yes, sir.
There were times when you couldn't wear a Dunbar jacket downtown, you know.
Yes, sir.
We went to blood, sweat, and tears to win those patches on those jackets. State
Right.
champions in track, state champions in football, state champions in basketball. You know, and you want that shown. You got those patches on your jacket so that you earned that. But you couldn't even wear it if you went in one of the stores downtown. And that was like, it went away pretty fast, though. I don't know what happened, but it changed. I think it's because our white brothers and sisters started to accept us,
Right.
and they traveled to our football games as well.
Right.
You know, they came to the games just like the blacks did.
Right. And I could say, hey, being somebody that was around football, being there with football, it gets to a point where it doesn't matter
Right.
what skin color you are, what skin you're in, because it's something about football. It's something about being around those people, those Friday night lights. It's just a different atmosphere.
I agree.
When you come from the same town, y'all ride the same bus if y'all are away, or if y'all are at home and everybody in town is at that one spot.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's nothing else to do but just be there and be together.
And that's kind of like love too, which you got to have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough era that we were brought up in. You know, in my younger days, you know, you had to worry about white-only signs and a lot of places that we couldn't go. But as time progressed, and when we started winning championships and started going to championship games, you know, we started filling up the stadiums, and I guess it was a profitable thing. And a lot of that stuff started dying down some. But we did go through some changes back during that time. Just like DC said, after a period of time, a lot of the people started getting together, going to the games together, and things changed a little bit.
Sir, it was great to hear.
Glad those days are over too.
Yes, sir. One more. I have a question, about 2 more questions for y'all. What does it mean that Lufkin continues to try and promote the Dunbar legacy?
I think that, to me, it feels like they wanted to grow into Lufkin High, and that you know, those are both cats. The Tigers and Panthers are both cats, big
Yes, sir.
cats. And I think that you know, you could take a tiger and breed him to a panther and
Yes,
make
sir.
a cat out of him, and it'd be a tough cat too. So I feel like it's the legacy can trickle down.
Yes, sir.
Lufkin High has been a good school for athletics too.
Yes, sir.
Don't let it be thought that Lufkin High didn't have anything. They had ball players too.
Yes, sir.
And just to add Dunbar to it, just emboldens it and makes them stronger too. And then, like I say, it's a family thing and it's a love thing. All they got to do is develop that love for each other. And the Dunbar thing is going to be a Lufkin Panther thing,
Yes,
which
sir.
it may already be.
Yes.
To me, it's very important that we keep that Dunbar legacy going, because I feel like during that period of time, we really put Lufkin on the map. I mean, everywhere you go, you know, people knew about the Dunbar Tigers, and that means a lot to me. And it meant a lot to me to keep the name of our school. We were the last class to graduate from Dunbar.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a heritage right there in all. And it means a lot to me to keep that heritage going on. You know, even though we did do a lot for this, for Lufkin at that particular time. And so it means a lot to me to keep that heritage going.
Yes, sir. Speaking of Dunbar, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, Mr. Nobles, you were inducted to the Hall of Fame. How do you feel about that honor and them awarding you like that to that they remember you and they know what you did?
I tell you, it really is truly rewarding to know that. Just know that they remembered. You know, that's been 50 or 60 years ago.
Yes, sir.
You know, and they still know who I am. That's great. I'm very impressed, and I love the fact that they did that for me, and that younger athletes that come along would know that I was there and I did that.
Yes, sir.
And maybe it'll help them and their young athletes grow into something special. And being inducted into the Hall of Fame in any endeavor is good, because your name is kind of enshrined in sports then. And Dunbar's legacy, being accepted into the Hall of Fame there, is, to me, is greater than being accepted into the Hall of Fame of the PVIL, the Texas High School All-American honor roll and honor hall that I was inducted to in 2016.
Yes, sir.
being an All-American, all of that, Dunbar Hall of Fame overshadows.
Sir.
Yeah, I'm very proud that they inducted DC in this Hall of Fame, because you got to understand that during the era we were growing up, it wasn't no such thing as black quarterbacks.
Right.
They didn't acknowledge black quarterbacks. I mean, it was a lot of black quarterbacks back then, good enough to play quarterback.
Yes, it was.
But you know, they just didn't believe in giving the black quarterbacks opportunities.
They said
to
they
play
weren't
back then.
smart enough. Coach Red told me, keep your grades up. He said, I put a top athlete in every college position that you can put an athlete in, but I don't have a quarterback. He said, you got the grades.
Right.
So keep the grades. And I did. I kept the grades, and he did what he did, put me in that spot.
Yes, sir. Well, I love that I got to be here to do this podcast with you both. It has been a special honor for me to come and do this with you, seeing what y'all have done and
Thank you.
getting to hear about what y'all did and how y'all got through it, through the hard parts and going through the good parts, to where you are now, and to be able to sit here and speak with you both. It is an honor to see two former Lufkin Dunbar two-time state championship,
3 times.
3-time state championship winners, and hear about how y'all did it and what y'all gained from it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm proud to be a part of this podcast, and I'm just happy to be here. Happy to let people know what went on back then, and I want to thank you for allowing us to express ourselves.
Yes, sir. I thank you. I have to toss it right back. I got to thank you, because this is an honor. I've never got to hear any of this. It's special to me, and I know it'll be special to everyone that gets to hear and see it.
Even though I'm a Tiger at heart, I want to say go Panthers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as we end our podcast, I am Sacorian Gardner with Mr. Nobles and Mr. Garrett, and we will have a documentary called Immortal Tigers, produced by former Lufkin student Lily Langston. Thank you.
Thank you.
The relationship that you hear about from the graduates was real.
It was just like home, really.
And there were no little people at Dunbar.
Dunbar was a segregated campus, and their focus was to make sure every student succeeded up to their level and beyond.
We had the most awesome staff of teachers and paraprofessionals, all the way down to the custodians that influenced every aspect of our lives.
When we were at Dunbar, to be kept after school, we knew in our hearts and in our heads that that teacher was taking additional time, and we felt special. That was special for that teacher to take time with us so we could learn.
I grew up in a time when the teachers were partners with our parents. You excel. You never allow anybody to say what you can't do, and you do your very best all of the time.
We had a curfew. I told one young kid that we had a curfew. I think it was around about 9 o'clock. And if you wasn't in, you had to pay the price. And Red didn't need a key to your door. He'd come in there and see if you was there.
My teachers there elevated learning to the point where I too wanted to share learning with others for the rest of my life. Everyone was special, and everyone's needs were met or tried to be met. And without the support of the Black community and the staff there, I don't think I would have become the person I was today.
We had state championships in typing. We had state championships in speech, literary diagrams, drama. A lot of the students focused on the public speaking and the debate, so we had state championships there.
I mainly was involved in music, singing in the choir. I played tennis, and I was a cheerleader for those Dunbar state champions.
They don't play the ball like we played back in the day.
When we were at Dunbar and we did excellent work, we were applauded. When those kids got over here and they did excellent work, they were questioned. The kids that had played quarterback and key positions, they were sit on the bench.
Last fall, we were given a generous donation with the intention of having our Lufkin football team bring the Dunbar jerseys back to the field. We wanted to honor all the achievements of Dunbar High School, and us and the kids both felt like that was the best way to do this.
We wanted them to experience what it was for, not just putting the jersey on and doing something because we asked them to do that.
It was very strong emotional wise, like seeing all the Dunbar alumni smiles and stuff, how they liked when we walked down them Dunbar jerseys.
Well, it was really exciting and especially to see my great-grandson, wanting to represent his great-granddad at school.
It was cool just to represent and knowing that all the history that Dunbar has left for us, all the winning aspects, all the plays and all the just like teaching stuff about the next generations just left. It just felt good to finally show them some respect and recognition they needed.
Lufkin can really become the ideal place to affect change in all of these other little small towns that have pushed their schools down.
Dunbar is a part of us. We are a part of this community. We want forever to be represented and recognized.
Dunbar, looking back now, I think has brought a great legacy forward to our communities and other communities simply because of the people that it produced and the teachers that made that happen.
We have to have some brick and mortar to where people can go back to. And that's why they erected statues and things so people could have something to go back to. I think Dunbar is really like a statue. It is a monument